Welcome back to special episode 2, the continuation of Natalie Portman and Anakin Skywalker's long.
Good on you for remembering that bit from all the way last week.
And for getting the same clothes on as last week.
Yeah.
I set everything up exactly the same. So I think they won't even know that it's been a whole week. But I've still been thinking about Natalie Portman. So, I mean, here we are.
Me too. I can't believe about the new president. Crazy, right?
My goodness. That's right.
Who could have expected that? Changed in between the weeks.
Well, I just realized we should have just input for all 3 of our boxes, just little Paddingtons. We could have just done that for all of our 3 boxes.
What if we just posted a 20-minute video where all 3 of our boxes were silent Paddingtons? No
exactly.
Audio. Yeah.
We use different AI voiceovers for each of us. Yeah,
it's just the Paddington episode.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Chat GPT. We are all just spouting lines written by a robot. None of this is real.
Have you ever worked with the AI to just repeat your speech patterns now at this point? I think all 3 of us have enough recordings online to do that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I have. I've tried to get a LLM to write a review written by Travis Northup. I was like, hey, look on IGN, find all the reviews written by Travis Northup. Now write a review of X game using his voice. It was catastrophic. It was very bad. It was very, very bad. I will say one of the things that's interesting is I couldn't seem to get the GPT to parse IGN correctly for author byline. So it was referring to a whole bunch of reviews I didn't write as my sample data. And then when I asked the AI, like, why are you doing that? They were like, well, it's kind of tough to parse it, but also IGN has a very strong style guide. And so a lot of these reviews use a very similar voice because they all have the same editor. And so therefore there's nothing to distinguish a Travis review from another IGN writer review. And I was like, whoa,
yeah, I disagree.
Whoa. Yeah. I was like, bro, my reviews are pretty different. So that was an interesting one, but it did not go well. First of all, it has to get all of its opinions somewhere. And because it doesn't have any opinions of its own, that means it just ends up drawing from like an aggregate belief based on like Steam records and other people who've reviewed it. And it gives a very strange perspective to the review because you're supposed to have a position and argue it and have explanations. And the robot can't do that. It's just grabbing like consensus statements and then trying to argue those. And it reads like a summary. It was just very bad. But I will say, full of puns. It had like a kind of my casual voice, didn't use a lot of big words, was like more friend on a couch vibe. So it got certain aspects right. But yeah, it was not a successful attempt and made me feel good, frankly, about my job security situation when it comes to IGN. So
you do have a kind of vibe coding style to your writing.
And I got some of that, but it was also, again, drawing off reviews that weren't mine as well. And when I tried to narrow it to like, hey, look at these, and I listed like 20 reviews, and it still wasn't really containing itself to just those. It was getting distracted. So it's one of those things they're going to have to work on before they can replace me. So give it a couple years.
Well, with my content not part of a multinational, huge infrastructure in the multimedia entertainment complex, it has a lot more success of emulating a virtual legality and emulating a Hangouts and Headlines or anything else I do in my voice. It's frightening, honestly. The AI continues to be frightening. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys about is, are you finding yourself playing games, reading anything in a game, looking at the background elements of a game and saying, I think an AI did that. That reads like an AI to me. That background definitely has the weird lettering that suggests that an artist did not put pen to paper on that. I'm finding that I am a little resentful, not of the AI itself necessarily, but of this kind of red alert, shields up framework that I'm experiencing certain games with at this point.
Yeah. So I don't experience it as much in gaming, but my day job, I use AI and work in AI and all that stuff. So I'm very familiar with the tech, and I'm really good at telling when AI has written something to the point where I'm like, oh, like it'll just be like 2 words, 1 sentence, and I'll be like, that's an AI. Like I can recognize it now. I'm worried about it in games, just because I get that there's some things you can do to like speed things up, and I'm totally for developers or any creator really using AI to like get rid of monotony and like improve kind of their work processes. But I like, especially with like writing and storytelling, I feel like there's a little bit of like, oh well, how much does this really matter? Or that sort of stuff weirds me out. And I do see in early access games, I won't call out which game, but I recently previewed a game that was in a kind of an earlier state, and I saw that they had like AI written placeholder text in some of item descriptions and stuff. It was like very clearly like they just were like, hey AI, like go through and come up with a description and some story bits about all of these, and with the intention of replacing it, presumably. But part of me was like, what if they don't replace it? Or what if they forget? Or what if they're using this as a basis? And so then it's like a creative writer is taking directions from a premise that was devised by a robot that's not known for coming up with original ideas, because everything they're doing is like remixing, right? They're not capable, or at least right now, of coming up with like a truly original premise. It's just a lot of kind of like references and that sort of thing. So I am a little worried about how it affects creative pursuits, but other stuff.
Did you see the tweet, the post, the viral kind of conversation about like the AI trying to name things in a fictional setting, and people that ask for science fiction premises are constantly getting some variation of the name, like Ilara Voss. And if you go and you ask, hey Grok, hey Chat, hey Claude, give me a summary of a potential science fiction short story that like the star or the star base or the main character will be named some version of Ilara or Alana or Elon Voss. Like, and I did this. I did this experiment with a couple of the AIs. Absolutely true. Like, this is just, it cannot fictionalize a name. So it pulls on like these notions of what would be a good sci-fi name. And for whatever reason, it is like absolutely stuck in these different modes, these different models, with Voss and an E name combining in this particular respect. So I agree with you, Travis, that people need to remember that they aren't inherently creative, that they're these weird amalgamation design machines. But it does freak me out because, yes, having worked with AI enough in my line of work, I use a service called Podcast AI to help summarize and give chapter stops for my longer form content. I still have to take maybe not a heavy pen, but a medium pen to kind of getting rid of the delves and the various ways that it constructs sentences. But I've read enough of them and fixed up enough of them that I immediately kind of understand that setup. Like, the AI loves to juxtapose. It's not just this, but this. It has various ways that it says things, where I was reading some background materials in like a walking simulator. And again, I agree with you, Travis. I don't want to go into names specifically here. One, because I don't know for sure, even though I'm pretty darn sure on these various things. But two, because it's not necessarily fair to just kind of throw them to the wolves on this kind of stuff. But I'm reading this background material, and it's like a magazine article that nobody really cares about. But I'm the guy that goes through the division and reads all the plaques in the museum. And I took a certain amount of joy in seeing the effort that people had done to build this world around me. And seeing all that AI language immediately kind of says, oh, right, you could just say, this is kind of the premise of who this character is. This is the magazine article. Just write me something really quick. And it does feel like a devaluing of one of the things that I really love. And it feels like the most likely thing to be
it'll go
on the
first.
cutting room floor.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because nobody
That's
cares except me.
Exactly. It's a lot of like
me.
work, and people want collectibles, but who wants to write like part of a newspaper article? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I always used to love that indication of effort, like that you cared that much about the world building.
Yeah, I like, you called out Division 2 is a good example, because all around the city, whether you're in Washington or now in New York, right in the second one, there's unique, and they did this in Watch Dogs Legion as well. There's unique graffiti all around the city. And I would just stop and like take pictures of it. I'm like, cool, someone actually drew something really cool. And to your guys' point, that's just going to be mass produced, through some model now, which is annoying and frustrating. But
I think there will probably be some inevitable backlash to that, because it doesn't feel good, right? Like,
I don't think there will, because most people won't notice it.
Yeah, but the people who do, I don't know. I feel like you can shame a company into into trying a little bit more of like the one thing that's supposed to come from them. Because like I say, I'm pretty unafraid of AI. I'm pretty pro AI in most areas, but like
Yeah,
this
me
is
too.
one area where there's certain areas where you're like, that should probably come from a human, because AI will only do it is only capable of doing things that have an objective right answer, in my opinion. And there's no objective right answer to these subjective art based things. And therefore, if you're trying to teach a robot to do it, you're going to have to program some parameter of what is success into it. And once you've done that, you've lost the part of creativity that's interesting, which is that there isn't a win condition really, or a success parameter. There's no objectively right way to do it. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, to answer your initial question, Hogue, I haven't really seen it. I mean, I've only played a handful of games lately, and they're major games. So I'm sure you see it more with the Hogue's Notes type of stuff, or to Travis's point, early access stuff. Does concern me though, for sure. And I think you called out a couple things Travis already commented on too, which is around the modeling for these things. It builds on one another. And so that means if people get smart enough and combine their efforts enough, you can really manipulate them. In fact, I was discussing an article with some work colleagues the other day, and like Grok is being banned and pulled and blocked from industry partners because it's shown to be manipulated, right? The data within Grok has been manipulated to give certain responses. And once you do that, the entire model crumbles because it just builds on that and builds on that and builds on that, right? And so it's not even being allowed to pull data from other sources because it's now considered an unreliable model.
I saw this thread in DeepSeek, like on Reddit, about DeepSeek, and it was like asking a bunch of questions about like, what's the best country, and it was like China immediately. And it's like, okay,
exactly.
It's like, well, what's the best country in terms of human rights? China. Just like all of the answers were China. It's like, I don't know, man. This doesn't seem like you guys have done your research. There's some manipulation going on there. Yeah.
And so it's just like, if you get into that space, depending on how you use it, there's just a lot of rabbit holes that are very poor. So it's the world we live in. It's rapidly evolving every day, and I don't know. It's a weird time. It's going to be interesting to see the next 5 to 10 years. I like the tech. I mean, the tech is usually never the problem. It's the people managing the tech that's the problem.
I do think it's exciting. I like AI as a concept. I know some people just don't. Period. I think it is going to open up a lot of those doors. I don't actually mind what Travis identified a little bit earlier, which is the kind of AI helping with the initial premise. It's not organically creative. We need to remember that about the large language models. But I do think it can spark the actual creativity in humans when you see the summary and say, okay, but I can do it this way and I can make that a little bit better, but maybe I didn't have that idea on my own. I think it can be used for that purpose. I would like the market to wind up at a point where, even with the background materials that I do admittedly love so much in these games, that the market demands a medium red line of these things, that at least you get a human voice for this, and not just the constant juxtaposition, not all of these language things that the AI does that makes it so obvious. I want to believe that someone took a moment of time to build this world for me. And not just a robot that didn't really care one way or the other, as long as it was following the prompt.
Yeah, I actually do think it's good at ideation and making a jumping off point, but I don't know about like becoming the basis for specific like world building stuff. Like, because again, it's like it's following a formula that it thinks is the correct answer of this is how you do it. And I inherently don't believe that's how creativity works. But I have, like, for example, I have to come up with puns all the time because I write a lot of puns and I insist on putting them in my work.
Because you love them.
Because I love them. And so sometimes I'll write into ChatGPT like, hey, give me, 50 puns that are related to bananas. It has not once come up with a pun that I thought was funny. I don't even think it actually even understands what a pun is based on the answers it gives. It is truly like, that's not even a pun. Like, what?
I do like, so you talk to the AI and you feel like you're being mildly gaslit.
Yeah, like
funny. It's like, is that
weird.
funny?
I'm like, am I missing something, or do you just not know what a pun is? And so they like, it's really about that. But it has also used words in the ideation where I'm like, oh, well, there's a word I didn't think about that's related to bananas, and I can turn that into a pun. And so it is good at that sort of like, give me 50 names that sound like they're in Star Wars because I'm a GM of an RPG and I want to make a character and I can't be bothered to come up with 50 jishes Jish and Gork and all these Star Wars names. So you do that. You come up with them. So it is good at that sort of stuff. I don't think it should be the basis for creative projects, and that I'm a little worried about that. But we'll see. I love change. It's one of the weirder traits about me. And so when new technologies emerge, I get excited, and people go, well, maybe the world will end. And I'll be like, well, maybe, but what are you going to do? I mean, you can't get the toothpaste back in the tube. It's coming. Like, you just have to adapt.
Yeah.
You have to adapt.
This tube's completely blown open.
Exactly. And I just think that never in the history of the world has anybody successfully stopped a new technology from becoming a thing. Even when the technology was like literal bombs that could destroy the world, it's like, nope, we're doing it, man.
You clearly went around during the Betamax days, all right?
I'm actually really curious about that assertion, because my gut reaction is something like, yes, Travis is right, but also to the extent that technology was stopped, it would have been stopped. So I don't know that our historical understanding is complete there. That's
fair, but we would have to have seen it at some point and then it get like smacked down, right? So when has that ever happened?
I like I said, I'm broadly in agreement with you. I think that's the right thrust. I'm not positive that we have complete understanding. I always think about this when we see Dateline episodes about criminals being caught, and my parents will say something like, see, all these guys are so dumb they're always caught, or something along those lines. I say, by the time they're making a documentary, yes, all of this
or
has already
if they weren't caught, they wouldn't have an episode about them.
Right.
Well, they got away. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there is that kind of hindsight bias of, all right,
it's proving a
Here.
negative. I get what you're saying. Yeah, that's fair. And there might be some like government technologies that they were like, let's just bury this, and got away with it. But I do think once it gets out into the open where the public is debating it, you already lost. Like, I talked to youths because I was involved in a fraternity organization in college, and I sometimes volunteer for them. And it is very funny talking to them because they do not want to own cars or learn how to drive, which seems crazy to me. But if you think about it, it's like, well, horses were the main way people got around. And then when horses went away, rather than keeping the streets open for horses, we just made specific places where you go if you still like horses. And I think cars will be like that by the time I'm your guys' age. I think it'll be like, well, if you want to drive, we have tracks you can drive.
But most people
what's the gap here?
I'm talking like maybe 10 years. What are you guys, 10 years older than me? What do you?
I think that. I think it's about
10
years.
I think
cars will be off the road in 10 years.
No, I don't think cars will be off the road. I think people will stop being behind the wheel because there's a better technology, a better way to do it now. It's inevitable that it gets out there. And I still think if you're an enthusiast, you can just drive on a track made for that, but there's no reason for you to be on the road with all the robots that can do it better. That's my thinking. I think maybe 10, 20 years. Maybe that's a little ambitious, but I live in San Francisco. I live in San Francisco, so like I'm skewed on where I think we are because most of the cars outside my house, as you saw, Ains, are like driverless. Like we're kind of already there in this city. So
I think you're right on automated driving taking over. I don't know about the timeline because timelines always seem to be faster than I think on those kinds of things. I can tell you from experience that my roughly driving age daughter has basically no interest in getting her license or driving a car.
A lot of Michael's friends were that way too.
And that's a bit strange for me from my experience when I was that age. So.
Yeah, because you wanted the freedom. I remember that being a kid and being like, if I could just drive a car, I could leave here. That would be great.
Because you couldn't do anything at home back then.
Yeah.
There was nothing to do. Now everyone's so connected, and there's so many ways to interact with people from your house.
I like to just think the parents are cooler. They just love being with the parents. That's what
you can convince yourself of that too if you like. Yeah.
I could do stuff at home, and also I was in a city, so it was more accessible, but I still just didn't want to be there. I feel like there's like a power and a freedom of being able to be like, I can just take off, So
well, and I just like driving. That's a whole nother
but you're gonna be like the horse rider.
I'll be the guy at the track.
You'll be the guy at the track, but I don't think that the next generation is gonna have any appetite to be behind the wheel. Why bother with it? I wouldn't have learned how to drive if it wasn't required of me. Like, I don't get any joy out of it. It's a means to an end.
How dare you?
No, I don't get any joy out of the act of driving. I remember when I was like in college saying that my goal, if I was to actually arrive kind of financially, would be to figure out a way to get driven around. And so that's the coolest part about automated driving to me is it's like, that's coming to the people. Like, that is coming to the masses. And that's
By the way, if I could insert a pitch for a Fast and Furious movie,
Oh
right
god.
now. Ains, listen to me
Vin
because I
Diesel
I'm
think
not
versus
even
the
getting paid
AI?
for this.
I think you're gonna like this, Ains, because here's my theory. So they're gonna end Fast and Furious. I think the next movie will be the last one, but
Thank God.
they're gonna
Didn't they say
do
Paul Walker is going to be in it?
yeah, which I mean he's technically already been in movies that he wasn't alive for, but whatever. Um, I think this will be the last one, but they've already sort of set up this next generation thing because there's an animated cartoon where you get to meet the younger cast, and they have Brian's kids, and now Dom has kids, and so like there's kind of a next generation brewing. So my theory is Vin Diesel comes back as like Marcus Phoenix in Gears 4, right? He's like old, right? We get to see him as like the I'm retired now character, my tomatoes guy. And this new generation driving is gone. It's just not something anybody does, and they have to bring back the spark of driving for pleasure, driving for fun, for freedom, for rebellion, all the reasons that Vin Diesel, Dominic
For
Toretto's
family.
old generation did it.
Family.
Now they've got to reintroduce that into the new dystopian future in which they now live.
I could get into that. That's you realize you literally just described Demolition Man. Don't you remember in Demolition Man everything's automated and the guy Dennis Leary underground has an old muscle car and he's like,
I've never seen
have
it.
a real
Travis,
car that you can drive.
All right, Travis, I need you to make
I didn't even know this movie
here.
existed.
I need you to make a commitment here.
What?
Demolition
That's
Man.
impossible.
No,
Demolition
I've
Man
never
is
heard of this movie. How
fantastic.
old is it?
It's from the 90s. It
Oh my
features
God.
Sylvester Stallone being cryogenically frozen and brought into a world that you wouldn't recognize.
And
It's
Wesley
completely-
Snipes?
Completely dependent on political correctness and controlled by computerized monitoring at all times. And he is a old school 80s, 90s action hero that is thrown into this dystopia, utopia, however you want to frame it, with Sandra Bullock and Rob Schneider, and is a tremendously fun movie. Please do check it out. Promise me you'll do this. All the
I will
restaurants in
watch
the
it.
future are Taco Bell's.
Do that before our real next episode. 3 weeks.
I will.
You can do that.
Dude, I literally have never because we have our next episode's this Sunday, isn't it?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, not when
but
this
by the
airs.
time they see
Not when this airs.
Right. Yeah, no, that's fair. No. This is getting very confusing living in the future with you guys.
It is, isn't it?
No, I've never even heard of that movie, but yes, like that, I think that would be a great premise for the kickoff of the next.
That was a hugely popular movie.
I don't
Dude,
know if it was
I was
hugely
born-
popular, but it was known.
It's popular.
at
What
the
year
time.
in the 90s? What year in the 90s?
It's
Was
gonna
it
be
when I
like
was
94.
okay, so I was like a toddler.
No, but I mean, people still watch it today. Like it's
No, it's good.
I mean,
It's an
I've
actual
seen
good
I've
movie.
seen movies that came out in the 60s, 50s, etc. I've never heard of this one.
No, that is
Watch
fair.
it because
I'm glad
what-
we brought it to your attention.
Yeah, what you described is essentially that comes to life in Demolition Man. So,
Well, they were ahead of their time because I think that's where we're headed, honestly.
Well, there are like thought pieces about Demolition Man being prophetic. So I'll be interested in your take on the far future of Demolition
Yeah.
Man.
I'll have
Yeah.
watched it in 3 weeks. Dee owes me one because she made me watch. She made me watch Now You See Me, a movie about magicians that is unbearable. One of the worst movies I've ever seen. And
It's not great.
I watched that movie and I looked over it every 20 minutes. I was like, dude, this is a disaster.
Don't
I
say that
cannot
until you
believe-
watch Now You See Me Too.
I've heard that.
Oh my
First of all,
God.
the fact that it's not called Now You Don't is obscene.
Okay,
is
so they did-
insane.
So they did announce that the third one is called Now You Don't. So it's Now You See Me, Now You See Me 2, Now You Don't.
That's way worse. Also, how is this movie getting sequels after that first movie? The first movie is unwatchable. It is terrible. How are they getting sequels?
I don't know what to tell you. I do know that the sequel is worse.
Here's the question: did Dee make you watch it out of kind of comedy because it's so bad, or does Dee actually like it?
She has never seen it before, but she loves magicians. So she wanted to see it because she was like, "Oh, magicians!" And I said, "Dee, there are lots of movies about
Watch The
magicians that are
Prestige,
good."
for God's sake.
Yes, exactly. I was like, "There are lots of movies about magicians that are good." First of all, the fact that you like magicians, huge red flag, speaks super ill of me because you're
You got to
married
learn
to me.
some close-up magic, man.
Very, very scary. Everything you just said. But okay, fine. But also, there's better movies. We watched it. Unbearable, dude. Unbearable.
I've never
I
seen
think
it.
the premise is pretty good. I think magicians in a heist movie concept is good. The plot does not work.
Oh my god, it is. Ains, I cannot recommend you watch it, but if you do, it'll make you laugh. I guarantee
I'm not.
that. Yeah,
No,
do not watch
I'm
it.
good.
Yeah.
But
Well, enjoy the sequel, Travis.
No, I refuse.
To come full circle on this topic of younger people not wanting to drive or just the change, which you said, we mentioned last week, which we can touch on real quickly here as we do this little extra thing about young people, Gen Alpha, right? So the very young people not caring about game consoles. And some data came out that Matt Piscatella shared earlier this week because we brought this up on our last live episode briefly. I think Luis mentioned it briefly because we got a comment about it. And the data
Can
that
I
Matt
clarify something?
Sure.
What that means when you say not caring about consoles? Do you mean that they are
Yes.
playing on PC, they're playing on their phones, or they're playing in the cloud? Like, what does that mean?
They are playing anywhere that does not require them to buy an extra device,
including a PC.
Including a
If
PC.
they have one at home, presumably.
Gotcha.
Yes.
If they already have one that's strong enough.
I'm trying to find
are
it
they probably
live
won't?
here, but
That
yeah, it
finding
was
game
like
entry point with what they've already got.
Oh yeah, here you go. 90. It's actually it's part funny enough. I said Alex. Good Lord, Travis. IGN is starting an entertainment where they look at gaming trends. Matt Piscatella was referring to that. It says 93% of Gen Alpha prefer playing on mobile, primarily because they obviously already have their phone. It says millennials and Gen X tend to be loyal to platforms or genres. Now, younger generations tend to be more loyal to specific experiences. They no longer identify as gamers. They identify as players of a specific game. So they get locked in basically to a game.
Yeah.
As we've talked about, the Fortnites, the Call of Duties, whatever you play, but it's
By the
that's
way,
all they do.
Sounds the worst way to game to me, but that's because I've got a very short attention span. I will say this though. I once wrote for an indie website called Gaming Trend, and this week when IGN announced that they're making a site called gamingtrends.ign.com or whatever it is, I can't remember it. He sent to me a Discord and was like, "Dude, what the like he was like not happy about it. He was like, "What is your company doing?" And I was like, "I don't know, man. I wasn't. They didn't check with me on that one."
I actually, no joke, on Gaming Trends. Shout out to our friends over there because David Burdett is over there, and I was actually literally on a gaming related thing with him earlier today. I can't talk about.
Oh, nice.
It, yeah,
yeah. I was. I wrote for that site for years.
Yeah, you told me. It's cool.
Yeah, so.
But anyway, yeah, I just figured I'd bring that up because it's a gaming topic.
That seems like
seems boring,
a very
to me.
Boring way to play. Yeah, I would want to hop around, but maybe it's I have trouble like just believing the data straight up that like they're because loyalty to games that could mean like 6 games, 7 games. It could also mean like 3 games, and then also you're playing additional games on top of that as long as they're accessible. But I can tell you the younger generation, the main thing that they ask me when I game with them, like the people I know who are like in their early 20s or even their teens, are they just assume it's going to be on whatever device they have, first of all, and they're surprised when they learn that it's not free. Like every time.
100.
Like I was like, "Yeah, well, let's play Wildgate," and they were like, "Cool. Where do I download it?" And I was like, "Oh, well, you have to buy it." And they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah." They were like, "It's not free." I was like, "Nope, not free." And then I had to give this person a code, which I was able to do because I was reviewing it. But like,
is that all I have to do to get a code from you, Travis? Is pretend that I don't understand how the market economy
how
works?
money
I don't
works.
understand that games cost money.
Like games cost money? I don't get it. Travis, code please.
You got me out here buying my own Tales of the Shire for nothing.
Look,
I mean,
first of all, I warned you not to buy that. Yeah, I was like, do not do it, especially on the platform you bought it on. I was like, don't hook.
It's all right. This is how you learn. You touch the stove and you learn.
That is how you learn.
But
a little bit.
It's all anecdotal, like not this data, but what we're talking about. My son's very similar, right? So he only plays on PC. He plays League of Legends. That's his one game, right? He does play other games, but one, they tend to be extremely cheap or free. He said his friends will not, and I've said this on our show before, will not spend more than $10 on a game. They'll spend $20 in microtransactions or skins every week. They will not spend more than $10 on the game itself. And another thing I see just anecdotally is, and we saw this a little bit with Ready or Not over these past couple weeks, is it's very trendy. A game will get picked up as a trend on Steam or streamers, and that game just spreads like wildfire in the social space. And suddenly that game is selling. Schedule 1. I was just going to say that. We saw that with Schedule 1. The hot one right now is Ready or Not. It'll be something else next week. And that just seems to happen because I'll ask my son, like, what are you playing other than League? And he'll say a game. And it's always the one that I've seen trending somewhere. I'm like, why? He's like, well, other people were playing it. And that's it. And it just spreads through their friend groups like that. And I'll ask him. I was playing Donkey Kong last week. And he's like, what is this? I was like, Donkey Kong Bonanza. He's like, what's it on? I'm like, Switch 2. He's like, oh, I hadn't heard of it. I'm like, I know, because it's not even in his thought, not even in his world.
It's got to hit Shroud and Ninja.
Sense.
He's never played. Name your most popular like AAA game. He has not played it. Assassin's Creed.
Destiny.
He hasn't played Destiny.
Wait, what? You told me he was a Destiny player.
That's my stepson. I'm talking about my other son.
Oh, your other son.
Yeah. I think Borderlands may be the only one, and that's because he played it as a kid with me. But like anything newer that's come out, AAA, nope.
Interesting.
It's funny. I think the strength of my Hogs notifications in this household is going to pass down to my daughters because we watch the directs and the state of plays and everything else. And
that's
so
good.
They play all this random stuff. I might bankrupt them in the future in their adulthood when the games are 100.
You'll save. Yeah, I'll get you code first of all, and second of all, they'll save you thousands of dollars on microtransactions because I think it's been shown that people who like just buy like indie games and smaller games save money over people who play one game. Those are money sinks. I mean, there's a reason the Warzone makes like however many billions a year. Candy Crush.
I still can't even fathom the microtransaction community supporting a first-person game like a Warzone. Like, I just don't understand it as much as I understand a Fortnite or anything else where you can actually see your character.
It's because you're not doing it.
Gun. I don't.
You're not doing it for you, Hogue. You're doing it for them.
The
world is a stage.
That I lack the neurons to care what you see me as. Right? It's like, okay, I look like a light-up zombie to you. Great.
If there's anything we've learned about teenagers, it's that they care more about what you see than what they see, right?
Well, it is all right. Go make your spoils on the teenage bucks, I guess. But
the
rule in our house is that if Infinity Nikki asks you for money, you don't have it to spend. So you can do everything else that doesn't require cash bucks, and we work through whatever the free monetization of those games is. And like me, they've kind of learned to like that or not, depending on the game, right? To say that that's too aggressive and they're being too greedy.
Some games obviously do it better. Yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
And some games are like you can't progress at all until you hand over your wallet information, and they just bounce off those because they don't have permission to do that.
Here's a question: what is the most money you have ever spent on a game via microtransactions?
It's a good question.
That is a good question.
I have a few. Go ahead.
Okay.
I think the farthest I've ever gotten is what I consider the tip jar. Like if I'm playing something long enough that it has engendered my goodwill, I will try to go find whatever the $5 thing is that they sell, whether it's the V-Buck equivalent or some kind of support package for those games. But I tend to buy more games, right? Like I'm not in the free-to-play microtransaction world, so I will take flyers more often and just say, that seems like an interesting premise, and you seem like a cool little studio. You seem to be updating your game if I'm on Steam or whatever. And I will say, yeah, I won't even look at reviews. I won't look at the Steam reviews. I won't look at anything else. Let's just give you the $15 and go from there. Like that's what I do more often than buy a skin that looks cool. But
what have you bought? Yeah. Give me something.
I think Fortnite is probably the right answer here. But I do like what I bought was like one of the first battle passes. And then I will bounce through the currency that gets me enough to get the next battle pass for maybe 9 or 10 months. And if I feel like I've gotten enough time out of that process, I will go to the store and buy a $20 skin that looks cool to me. Like I will do that out of essentially largesse that I feel like I've gotten enough time and value out of this project. But I think Fortnite's the only one I've ever really done that with. Diablo 4 is one where
you did mention you bought a few of those packs.
Yeah, where I also buy the cosmetic packages that come with the currency, where they'll put some kind of stupid horse armor with a deal on certain amounts of currency, and that'll be $20 or something like that. Where I need the currency anyway because I'm going to get the battle pass, and they are stingy with giving you the battle pass bucks back in Diablo land. Like so I've wound up doing that a couple of times, but Diablo 4, I don't even know, gave me 400 hours of content so far.
So that's the tip jar. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still kind of that equivalent to me in my head to say, well, I would have had to buy something else to fill in this time anyway.
Ains.
Yeah, I have a couple. I probably have three I'll call out. The first will surprise. One won't surprise you guys at all. One will.
Rocket
The
League.
one that won't surprise you is Halo Infinite.
Okay. Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have at least 250 plus probably in Halo Infinite. For
What does that get you?
Everything.
It is exactly what you're talking about. I mean, you do get to see your character in that one, though. You hop in vehicles and when you die and stuff, so it's a little more applicable.
I'm just not as familiar with Halo Infinite.
Yeah, so you get
skins?
like I can look like Halo 2 Master Chief. I can look like Halo CE Master Chief, right? All the different chiefs. You get all kinds of different HCS skins, so skins of the pro teams, stuff like that. And you have different weapon models, so you'll be using a battle rifle, but it won't look like the standard battle rifle, right? It'll look like a different version of it and all kinds of stuff. I have the Halo CE pistol, so if I'm using the pistol in Infinite, it looks like the Halo CE pistol. All that kind of stuff.
That would confuse my brain, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So that's a big one. The one that you guys wouldn't expect is Smite. So Smite, I have probably 1,500 plus hours in, and I haven't played it in a couple years now, but I used to play it multiple times a week, and I had all the gods unlocked, and I had several like elite skins for I don't know, tons and tons, dozens of gods. So I've spent a lot on that game. Probably I'd probably say at least 500 plus, several hundred probably.
I like that game back in the day, like years and years ago. Is the last time.
Yeah, Smite 2 is out now in early access, and it's the same game. It's just in the new engine, so they're modernizing the whole thing. So I'm probably going to get back into it a little bit. I had one friend who I would play that with, and he had kids and doesn't game as much, so it's just one of those where you kind of fall off of it. And then the third, now my most modern one is Finals.
I thought you were going to say Finals. Yeah.
Yeah, it has skins for not only, you can completely customize your character, and you see your character pretty often in that game, but then it's got all sorts of different weapon skins and skins for every gadget, right? And they have funny ones, goofy ones, serious ones. So most of the reason is kind of what you said, Hogue, just on a larger scale, which is the Finals I do because I really like what Embark is doing for that game, the content updates, the community, the support. They're just fantastic. They're my favorite dev in the multiplayer space right now, so I'm happy to support them. So I've already probably spent a couple hundred on the Finals.
Nice.
Yeah, and psychologically, like I said, in my mind, I like to support the industry. I love games. I buy more of those indie games than I can probably ever play, just because I like to see novel approaches. I like to see little teams work on things. I like to see them succeed ultimately. I know I don't make the difference there, but that's me kind of tipping gaming as a concept. And then in the free-to-play space, if I wind up playing more than I thought I would and I'm having a good time, I look for a place that I can tip. Sometimes I get rebuffed in that attempt where they just haven't offered me anything that is remotely palatable for what I want to tip them. They just skip straight to the $50 packs or whatever, and it's like, no, I need a space where I can give you some money, but I'm not willing to go all in on you right now, and that has happened before.
Nice.
Yeah, one thing Finals does really cool is every season they do a $10 season pack where it gives you like 5 skins, some weapon stuff, some nicety things, but you pay $10 of money, right? Then it gives you the $10 currency back that you could then use to buy the battle pass. And then the battle pass gives you, if you complete it, gives you the money back too. So you essentially, if you play enough, you get all that stuff for free, but it's still helping support the developer. You know what I mean? So it's a good system.
Nice.
Yeah, they need some US dollars for their cosmetics.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I don't think I'm the guy they're looking for in their free-to-play business model, right? I might be a monthly active user, but I'm not spending a lot of money. And I'm using all of the mechanisms that any of these games give me to not spend money in most instances. Like Skull and Bones, I think I might have bought a battle pass when they started doing battle passes. I don't think I bought one since. Like it's just looped around. And I know I talk a lot about Skull and Bones, but that model works for me. It doesn't get them any more revenue. But I do tend to buy like the little expansion packs, which I think fall into this category for games like Dead by Daylight. I love DBD. I play that a lot. And what they do is they'll have a character and and a stage pack, and it'll be $5 or $7 or $10.
Yeah.
Every couple months. So it's kind of like re-upping. And I do basically stay up to date on like the game facing the actual characters that have different skills and powers in a game like Dead by Daylight. And so I do stay mostly up to speed on those things. I can't play even the ones that I really like. I can't play Dead by Daylight and Skull and Bones and Diablo 4.
Yeah, there's
Fortnite.
way too many.
So I'm picking one every given season, basically. But that's what I spend. I do know a partner of mine a number of years ago wound up not getting into trouble, but probably spending too much on Clash of Clans.
Oh man, that game's
he would tell me
brutal.
about he would tell me about like the power he needed to keep and the money he needed to spend to keep the power. And I can't pretend that I understood all of it. But it sounded like a lot back when he gave me that story. It was in the thousands.
Yeah. I know a couple that met through that game, and they spend like thousands of dollars every month on that. Which is nuts. Game's apparently very popular. Yeah, so I'm like the world's cheapest gamer. Like I like pride myself on not buying literally anything on these games. Part of that is just because especially when I'm reviewing a game, like a lot of times they'll give me a code for premium pass, and I always try not to use it at the beginning just to feel what it's like to play without it, and then I'll use it later. But if I'm not covering a game and I don't get like access to it, I won't even buy like the deluxe editions. Like, oh, you're missing a mission. Oh well, too bad. I guess I'm just not going to play that mission. So I am like the world's cheapest gamer. And I still get a lot of cosmetics like sent to me, like Destiny. I have like all the not all of them. There's way too many, but I have like a ton of them because they keep sending me. They keep giving me silver like every time I review that game. But the types of content I tend to pay for are when like if it's a game that like adds characters, and you'll be like, oh, new character, $5. So it's more like of a DLC model than like a true microtransaction. I basically don't buy cosmetics. I don't care if I look like a trash can. And I actually think it's kind of funny when you do, because like you're like, oh, he's OG, he's wearing like all of the default skins, this guy's just a dork. I think that's kind of funny. But there is one game that I tend to spend money in like kind of regularly, and that's Pokemon Go, because the way they do it is they have activities like events. Like it'll be like this weekend there's like this event, and it'll be like $3 and you get to participate in it. And so Pokemon Go is a way that I have convinced Dee to ever leave the house, and so I will do that with her. And we'll go walking around the city and catch Pokemon while we hang out and go to a restaurant or whatever. That's like the only one that I will regularly like buy it. It's cheap. It's worth it to me because it's like a excuse to get out and walk around and get some exercise. And also, it's Pokemon Go. It's fun. It's social. You can hang outside and do it with friends. That's probably the only game I can really think of where I've like bought something that was purely a microtransaction that wasn't like kind of somewhere in the line of like being DLC or an expansion, because I don't really count expansions. That's not really the same type of transaction. Like, would you call I don't know, Erdtree, Shadow of the Erdtree, like in the same category? To me, it's kind of different.
I wouldn't call it a microtransaction. No, I was going to joke. Of course, the most money I spend is for games, is collector's editions and collectibles outside of the game.
Yeah.
That's a whole different ball of wax. But no, I wouldn't count Shadow as a microtransaction. I guess, I mean,
no,
I don't
those
know.
are
I
macro
look at it
transactions.
Those are macro because they're big. But what I mean is like, what if it's like a single mission that costs like $7? Like, is that a microtransaction or is that just a DLC? Like, what do you count as a microtransaction? Is my kind of question. Because some of these skins are like $20. I don't even know if that's a microtransaction. To be honest, it
sounds like you're adding everything that's not cosmetics. Like
when
I was talking about
right.
Dead by Daylight, those are characters, those are villains that have their own mechanics. Those are things
I don't count
that.
That's kind of a different
adding
thing
to the game and are not just cosmetic in nature.
So in that case, I guess
there
even
are
my
skins
Pokemon
in League of Legends that are $100.
That's crazy. So I guess by that definition, Hogue, even the Pokemon Go things aren't, because they're not purely cosmetic. They're like you're getting quests. So yeah, I don't know. So
I'm interested in that model in Pokemon Go. I haven't played that since the summer of Pokemon Go. I have to be honest. Mrs. Hogue is currently playing I don't even know what the app is, but apparently there's an app that lets you grow Pikmin as you walk.
Oh, nice.
So she goes on walks and grows Pikmin on the way, as I
Nice.
understand it.
Okay.
But
Go Nintendo, getting people outside of the house. They really don't want you to be in your house. They're making their
They got
consoles portable. They
got this like the sleep apnea detector thing for the Pokemon.
It's called
Whatever that
Pokemon
is.
Sleep.
Yes.
Pokemon Sleep. Yeah, I've played that one or played it. I've slept. I guess
Played.
is what I'm telling you guys.
You slept with the
I've
monitor
slept
on.
before. Yeah, which is interesting. Just because I wanted to see how my sleep was. Turns out, troubled.
It's not great.
In case you were wondering. Apparently, getting 3 hours of sleep with a resting heart rate of 32 BPM is not a good way to live. But
You die every night.
Yeah, every night I'm dead, and I wake up.
Every night, every morning you don't wake up, you come alive.
Yeah. That's right.
So, well, boys, what you think?
Yeah, it's just about my bedtime. Seems like it's time to pack it in.
It's 9:30.
No,
it's time for Hogue is supposed to be having dinner at 4 p.m.
So watching this, it'll be like 11 a.m. You're good.
Indeed. It will
that's
be.
right. Yeah, totally.
Well,
cool.
It's been fun doing some extra content. As you're watching this episode, we will be back next week with your regularly scheduled Bitcast. And we'll see what the hell news happened between when we stopped broadcasting between then and now, and we'll talk about it.
What week is that?
We can't guess what'll happen by August 24th.
Do you guys want to guess what I'm reviewing this week?
This week, as in August 24th?
Yeah, like what am I going to be reviewing when we meet next week? Like, what will changed?
Are you on to?
Oh yeah, it will be Borderlands. You're right. Yeah, I'm on that review. Yeah, so it probably will be Borderlands. Oh, that's
How are you
fun.
enjoying it?
Have fun.
Borderlands 4?
Future Travis is maybe enjoying it. We don't know yet. It's hard to say.
I hope so.
I hope he's enjoying it.
Now Battlefield, which we will have talked about this Sunday, are easily my most anticipated games now. So
that's right.
2 weeks ago from this taping, we will have already discussed the Battlefield 6 multiplayer.
Yeah, so go back and watch episode 349, and you can hear our thoughts.
We were very insightful.
Anyway, it's been fun, guys. Audience, thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for enjoying our summer break specials. And we will see you next week, 3 weeks from now. Till then.